Whew, what a day already. Sometimes when I get up, there's this beautiful quiet moment of reflection and, like almost as though I'm coming back to the body, right? And then other times I wake up moving. I wake up coming out of bed going, oh, gotta go to the bathroom, gotta drink my water, gotta do this, gotta do that. This morning I missed my gua sha first thing. I was so intent on like moving. So I did it just a little bit ago. But it's fascinating. You are watching Daily Devotions with Red Moon Eagle. We are in the tide of renewal, which is the spring equinox to the summer solstice. If you haven't been here before, I do daily devotions and we talk about all kinds of stuff. This is a really informal, laid back place in the way that obviously I'm still in my night robe. I have not done my face or my hair. It's very rare that I do that for this. I say that, but in some of the older ones, you'll see that I am like up and dressed, and then I do daily devotional, I'm out the door. For me, this is a real space to be real. And so I don't script this. This is not a professional put this out into the world thing. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna start with sacred self-care. The card that I pulled today was sound healing. I receive healing energy with grace and ease. Specific sound frequencies like 528 hertz offer unique healing energies because of the way they resonate in our cells and the water in our bodies. Sound healing often involves crystal bowls, tuning forks, gongs, and other sacred instruments to create a vibrational frequency that brings a deeply meditative state. Journal prompt: practice in sound healing and write about your experiences before, during, and after the journey. How do you feel in your mind, body, heart? I wish I'd known I'd pulled this card and I would have brought my tuning forks downstairs, but tuning forks. I want to talk about that here in a little bit more. The second card of the deck, or of the day, is the Egyptian Sacred Oracle, and it is number 13, Maat, Truth and Fairness. Maat, goddess of harmony, justice, and truth. She is usually depicted as a young woman with wings, holding the scepter of power, a symbol of eternal life. She wears an ostrich feather on her head, a symbol of lightness. Ma'at also represents universal order, and existence moves on the basis of the principle of justice, interpreted as a law that must be observed. It is a time for recovery and restoration. You may receive rewards for certain right actions, but also punishments and consequences for wrong ones. Remember that happiness can only be achieved through fairness, righteousness, and moderation. I love that. Ma'at. Ma'at is one of my favorites. Animal Spirit Guidebook. The fish. Restlessness, change of focus, lost in the current. Fish loves to be subsumed in life's current. Nothing pleases it more than movement, and more movement. The roaming lifestyle of the fish may be exhilarating for a while, but it usually leads to weariness and slippery relationships. With all the possibilities out there in the vast waters, the fish becomes lost without clear goals and intentions. Spend time with the lunar forces, dear fish, as the peace and calm of the moon will soothe your soul. When in balance, adaptable, travels well. When out of balance, distracted, changes mind often. To bring into balance, set a small goal and accomplish it. I love that. Mystical Shaman Oracle. We're going to tie all these together in a minute. Number 64, the witness. The essence of the witness observes without engaging in any action. By cultivating inner stillness, we are able to assess any situation from a higher perspective and make better decisions. When we can be present for someone else's difficulties with stillness, we are then able to truly hear them and give a better choice and give better advice. Sometimes we can just be still so that we mirror for the other. Then, through our presence, they receive their own answers. The invitation of the witness that has been by your side all along is now ready to become your ally. You thought you were the doer, but today you discover that things happen when you get out of the way. Witness creation unfolding before you. Change the reality by finding stillness and letting your true intent reveal itself. The medicine of this card is to acknowledge your preconceptions, your ideas, your feelings about situations you are in, and resist the urge to change any of it. Don't fall back into your controlling patterns. Instead, take a few breaths and connect with your joy of not having to perform. Hold a space for the world to keep spinning on its own. Okay, so there's a lot in the cards today. I'm going to go all the way back to the tuning fork one. Okay, well, the sound one. Okay. Sound healing. I receive the healing energy with grace and ease. So, sound healing comes in a lot of different forms. I don't know about you, but I grew up. Some of my best memories with my youth come from sound. They come from the vibrational healing aspects of sound. When I was a child, my father got stationed in Germany, and instead of living on base, we lived on what was called being out on the economy. So we lived out in a little village in Germany, off the base. I didn't go to school with my American counterparts. I went to school in the German public school. And one of the most amazing experiences that I was blessed with was our landlady was a retired, apparently famous music teacher of some kind. I don't really remember all of the details. It's been a long time. And I remember the joy. I remember the sound and the beauty and the joy of going upstairs and sitting in her little music room with her and her teaching me music, teaching me how to read music, teaching me how to make music, the joy of music. And I also remember, conversely, the terror, the anguish, the fear of having music that was such a joyous thing be forced because it wasn't perfect. And as an adult, I can give a lot of grace and I can look back on that and do a lot of forgiving. And there was a journey for me in this, the journey of the love of music and wanting to pursue it and also having to make a choice because I had to untangle the interpersonal connections that were damaged. And that's a big, long story. I'm actually going to write about that. But music and vibration and sound can be so healing. I have used music for my own emotional stuff to work out the emotions of energy that has been cascading around me. Interestingly, I have rediscovered a box of CDs of music that I had thought I'd gotten rid of, and I've been listening to music CDs that I haven't listened to in a long time. And there's this joyous connection that comes from vibration and from sound. I don't usually listen to a lot of music when I'm in the car because I need to focus. And I don't listen to a lot of music in my house because I like to have it quiet. There's a lot of ambient noise around my house. You know, our dishwasher's really loud, our dryer and washer's really loud. My husband's youngest son, my stepson Shane, he's very loud. Um, there's a lot of loudness. There's a train 2 blocks away from my house. There's a lot of sound. And I love music, but I also recognize that the stillness is amazing. And one of the things with sound healing is that you don't always have to meditate with it. You can use sound to heal. Binaural beats are amazing. It doesn't always have to create a stillness. It can also create energy. It can be vibrationally healing. And that's really what I wanted to touch on with the sound part, because sound is, we are surrounded, we are inundated with shorts and memes and reels and YouTube and Netflix and Hulu and Disney and Discovery and Paramount and all of the subscription services. And then you have music in the radio, and you have news things, and sound. And I talk a lot. And so even with that, and because of that, and in spite of all of that, it's really important to find a place where you can sit listening to your own breath, listening to your own heartbeat, listening to the rhythms of your own body, and not need an external stimuli on top of it to add noise. Because what you want is coherence, not incoherence, not random vibration, but coherence in the vibration. So then we come to maat. And maat, these 3 cards actually go really well together. Maat, truthfulness and fairness, harmony, eternal life, lightness, universal order, justice, and what comes from not paying attention to all that, right? Consequences. And then fish. Fish is restless, change of focus, lost in the current. A fish loves to be subsumed in life's current. Movement. The vast waters, the vast possibilities, and fish become lost without goals or intentions. Spending time with the forces of the earth, of the lunar forces, of the peace and calm. So moon, we just had an eclipse. It's movement, but not random. There does need to be purpose with this. And then witness. Observes without engaging, cultivating inner stillness. There's an invitation and a lesson in these 3 put together, and this really bubbled up when I, as I was reading, because I didn't do any pre-stuff with this today. And there's the tendency to always want to have an answer, always to give advice, always to feel like you need to solve a problem, right? Our modern cultural ideal has a tendency to be around, we hang out together to give each other answers to our problems. Support and community in our modern world is often looked at as, well, here's your solution, right? And there's layers in relationships, right? There's layers of when you hang out with friends just to shoot the shit, right? Hang out to be there for someone who's struggling with something, and or to also be the leaning shoulder, be there for someone who needs to vent, needs support, needs moral, emotional companionship. These are all layers of relationships, and we all need different things at different times, but we also need community. And there's a piece in here that bubbled up about learning to recognize what you need and what others need, and learning how to communicate that in your community in a healthy way. So there's this, it's come up actually a couple times in the last week, and then I had a weird dream, not a weird dream, but a dream about somebody that I care about, and I stumbled across something that was written a long time ago, and all of these things kind of bubbled up in realizing that for me, even 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I was not always cognizant of how to communicate my needs and wants with even my friends, much less my relationships, in a healthy way. And I also didn't always understand when someone else requested or required or reached out or wanted. I didn't always understand the cues. And I will say that understanding that I have ADHD and autism now make so much more sense. Like, I was legitimately missing social cues. I knew that I was missing something. I did not understand what I was missing. You don't know what you don't know till you know that you didn't know it. And I have nearly 50 years of my life stumbling around, not realizing I was missing some pretty big cues. And also within that, I had extreme mold toxicity for about, 2010 to 2015, 16, before I started getting any kind of treatment. And there's a mental perspective with mold, toxic mold. It does something to the brain. It really does make cognitive function extraordinarily difficult. And if you already have a neurodiversity like ADHD and autism, and you add inflammation in the brain from mold or Lyme, you're gonna have a big problem. And I had a big problem. I will also caveat that I've had a big problem for most of my life, especially with my neurodiversity and understanding these components. And so there was quite a few events in my life where maat, her justice, her consequences, were pretty damn swift. And there were relationships that were in my life that my friends, the people that loved me, were really trying to tell me that there was something wrong. And they were right. There was something wrong. Not only from the perspective of things I said or did were hurtful or mean or misunderstood, right? Like, because if you have a neurodiversity, I might not have totally realized at all that what I said or did was inconsiderate or came across as mean or seemed manipulative when I didn't see it that way at all. Not because I was sticking my head in the sand, but because I was missing a huge piece. And neurodiversity makes social interaction really tricky. And there were many times that my actions, my constant movement, I wasn't able to slow down. I am the fish in so many ways. I am constantly moving. There's very little stillness. And yet, when I tap into that stillness and I'm connected in to what that looks like, I become witness, and I'm very good at it. But these other things, my own lessons, are also in this journey. I can be witness for others, and I can hold space for others, and that's a powerful thing that I know I can do, and I've done it very well for chunks of my life, for small little things in my life. I'm very good at that. But I'm also living my journey. I am not separate from anyone else. I'm not better than anyone else. I am trying to figure this shit out just like everybody else. And this is where the lesson comes up in the cards today, is that I want to share, which is that you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And so sometimes the bearing witness or being the person that is heard is navigating and learning how to communicate and unmask And I say that from a neurodivergent perspective. Unmask, ask the questions. And I know how hard that is. That is extraordinarily hard when you grow up traumatized, not heard, not seen, not understood for the differences that genuinely make you look at the world in a totally different way. And the people around you that should love you and trust you and listen to you aren't hearing you. It can make your adult relationships extraordinarily complex because you don't know what you've done wrong. You don't know when you mess up. And when you do mess up, the explanations, my friends were trying to help me for a long time. I have had friends that have really tried to help me over the years. And those friends had their own journey, right? So learning how to have relationships and have community is a combination of several things, right? Like when you come together, like you're gonna have tea, right? Let's go have tea. That's the thing that I do. Not everybody does that. Most people go have coffee, right? Let's go have coffee. Is it clarify? If you have tea with somebody, right? Or you have coffee with somebody, you've got a friend that always wants to go have coffee with you. Get clarification if you're not sure. What are we doing? Are we hanging out because we're just going to shoot the shit? We're going to share equally. We're going to do a thing together. We're going to move. We're going to use that fish energy, that restless moving energy to hang out and connect, have a moment of connection. Is it a bitch session? Am I calling you up because I just need somebody to talk to? And I do it better face to face. Clarify that. Ask your friend, do you have the capacity to listen to me shoot the shit? Shoot my shit. Or I'm reaching out because I feel like there's a need. Do you need to talk to me? This is just me as a friend being here for you. Clarify what it is that's creating this dissonance. And that also helps both of you create good boundaries and figure out what is good and healthy in the relationship and how that works well or not well for you. I wish desperately that I had had some of the tools that I now have, knowing my neurodiversity, knowing about it, knowing how it works, just knowing how my brain works has helped so much in me being able to have healthier relationships with people. And then, because of course, I add all of the body, mind, spirit, emotion, community wheel into that, this beautiful wheel. I'm working on creating a little template for this. And in that wheel is body of 9. And if I know that my natural number 2 wants to hang out, she's gonna wanna move. So let's go for a walk. Let's do something. My natural number 6, she's gonna wanna go for a walk. Sitting and just chatting is gonna be okay, but she's gonna wanna move. My natural number 8, they're gonna wanna move. There's a movement potentiality in that. My 7s like to move too. Sometimes my 7s don't mind sitting and have a cup of tea with me, but boy, they like to move. My natural number 1s don't need to move. They want to sit across the table from me and gaze into my eyes and have a connection. My 3s want to have that connection. They just want to sit next to me and they want to look me in the eye and they want to have that conversation. My 2s also want to have the connection, but boy, they like to move a little bit more. Like, I can sit with you, but then I want to move. My 4 friends, boy, they just want to sit and be in a space and have that connection with me, that emotional, real, authentic connecting moment. So there's a quality now in a combination of knowing my neurodiversity, but also understanding the body of 9 language that helps me communicate with people and be both witness when I need to be, present when I need to be, and understanding the dynamics of when is advice needed, when is teacher needed in that moment, and or where we're just hanging out in space together, connecting, being part of a community. These cards are pretty important. And for me, maat and fish, those are the big ones for me this morning, because I've had maat slap me down. You know, there's a real thing about truth and fairness and how justice and consequences kick in. There's also a real thing in day-to-day life that sometimes the consequences don't make sense if you don't understand what you did wrong. You don't understand what everybody around you seems to get. And that was a big problem for a long time in my life. I can pretend to play the game until it fell apart because I didn't actually have all the rules. I didn't have the understanding. Now the converse side of that is now I understand so many of the rules in the sense that I understand what I didn't understand. Still don't get why people do half the stuff they do, but I at least understand that now that there's a reason why. And with Ma'at, when she teaches this, she teaches it to you because you're supposed to use it. You use it. And I know how to do it better, not in a perfectionist perspective, but better in a way that I can bear witness now without worrying about what I'm missing, because I can pay attention and I can focus and I can bear witness. This is why I'm very good at it. And I've been good at it my whole life. Because now I know that I can lean into the authenticity of that neurodiversity and create clarity for others when I need space, when I need help. I hope that all makes sense. I hope you all have a beautiful day. I'm working on this amazing wheel project and I'm having fun with it. Hope you all have a beautiful day, and I send you blessings, and I will see you in prayer again on another day. Blessed be.